Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So just going to give you my starting 11 prediction ahead of our game this evening in the Carabao Cup against Rochdale. Obviously in this particular game Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will go more with the youth, and he will drop some of the regular first teamers will Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course. So obviously he will make alterations in the squad. Give you a bit of team news as well ahead of the game this evening. The good news is that Paul Pogba now has regained full fitness, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has assured that Paul Pogba will probably get some minutes under his belt this evening, because we do know that Paul Pogba has missed the last 3 games in all competitions with McCoon ankle injury. Because don't forget, around 3 weeks ago Paul Pogba had to withdraw from the France squad, and obviously in that aspect he would have been really infuriated, because we do know that he does like to represent France. Mason Greenwood now, I think he should be involved this evening. Mason Greenwood, obviously Solskjaer actually said prior to the West Ham game last weekend that Mason Greenwood could have started that particular game. It turned out he didn't travel with the rest of his Manchester United teammates to London, because obviously Mason Greenwood has been suffering from tonsillitis. But if Mason Greenwood is to keep the consistency up, Solskjaer has assured that he will get more minutes under his current belt and that. But I think at this moment in time Mason Greenwood is a much better solution than Marcus Rashford. We do know that Marcus Rashford is not going to be involved tonight anyway. He's going to miss this game due to that he's got I think a groin problem. He had to come off injured in the 2-0 defeat to West Ham, but we do not yet know how severe the injury is, and we don't know how long Marcus Rashford will be out. But I think Rashford has had a he's done okay in parts this season. He hasn't performed to the same sort of extent as Al Martial, Daniel James, Al Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire, and that's performed Marcus Rashford, but he has done okay in parts. Some people believe he's overrated and that, but I think Mason Greenwood at this moment in time is a much better option than him. We do know that Anthony Martial and Luke Shaw are going to miss the game this evening. Anthony Martial has been out with a thigh injury, of course. Luke Shaw has been out with a hamstring injury, so both players have missed the last 4 games in all competitions. So we have still got imperative players out with injury. Hopefully Anthony Martial and Luke Shaw can be back for the game against Arsenal next Monday and that. So these now players recovering from injury. We do know that Eric Bailly, of course, is still a long-term absence. He's out of course until the new year. Obviously he sustained a knee injury throughout pre-season. We do know that Fossil Mental, don't forget he's also a long-term absence. Diego Dalot, he's just recently, recovered from a groin problem. Obviously, he played in the game against FC Stani. I think he could be in line to play this evening, could Diego Dalot. But yeah, he recently recovered from a groin problem. Jesse Lingard not too long ago, we obviously recovered from illness. So we have had, quite a few players out of injury. But I think tonight, probably Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will go with a similar team, as he did do in the game against FC Mestania. Obviously, as you all know, Rochdale are sitting in League One. I think they are sitting 17th in League One. But this is obviously a game that Manchester United should win in that. But yeah, so I'm going to give you my starting 11 prediction for the game and that. Like I did say, Solskjaer will try different formations this season. I think on a regular basis this season, he'll mainly go with a 4-2-3-1. Probably go with a 4-3-3. And that a couple of times. But yeah, this evening he will rest key players for the game against Arsenal next week. So he'll definitely go with Sergio Romero in goal. Obviously Sergio Romero has got that experience, of course, of participating in the cup competitions in the Europa League and that. So he will drop the Gea this evening. He will go with Sergio Romero. I think at right back he will go with Diego Dalot. I do believe that Al Wan-Bissaka will be rested for this particular game and that. So Diego Dalot will get that right back. I think that centre back. I think the centre-back partnership, probably will be Phil Jones and Alex Tuanzebe. With Alex Tuanzebe, we do know he can actually play as a right-back, but I think his preferred position is a centre-back, so I think Alex Tuanzebe will be in line to start tonight. Jones, like I said, Jones and Rojo, they made their first appearances for the club in the 1-0 win against FC Astana. I think Jones will probably be playing tonight. I think Rojo, probably will be playing at left-back, and I think probably Young will be on the bench. So that's my back, my back line. The midfield now, Whether Paul Pogba starts from the start or not, I do not know, but he's been assured that he could get some playing time, but maybe Paul Pogba, won't start, or he may start, I'm not too sure. I think tonight, he should go with Fred in that midfield, because I think, Fred has been quite impressive in his last couple of games for Manchester United, and I think he's a much better solution than Nemanja Matic. I think Matic needs to be dropped tonight for this particular game, so I would go with Fred in that midfield. I probably, would give Angel Gomez, the start as well, because he did initially say, he's going to be a big part of the squad this season. Angel Gomez obviously is another one of our midfield options. Will McTominay start tonight? He actually didn't play in the FC Astana game. Well, he didn't start from the start, Scott McTominay, but I think McTominay, deserves to keep his place in the team, reflected on his impressive performances so far this season. Like I said, in regards to him being a long-term solution for Man United, I have got element of concerns about that, and there is question marks around McTominay. Can he keep the consistency up on that? But I do believe, he deserves to keep his place in that midfield. So I think the midfield three, could possibly be Fred, Angel Gomez, and Scott McTominay, or something like that. But that's my predicted three. Anyway, he might even start Matic. He could even start Pogba. I don't know. I'm just giving you my predictions. I think he'll go with a 4-3-3 tonight, and I think the front three he'll go with. He'll obviously start Daniel James in this game. Daniel James did miss the game against FC Astana because obviously he had a sustained a knock. But Daniel James, I think will be playing on that left hand side. I think probably Chon will start as well. He'll be another player that starts tonight. I think he'll play on the right wing, and I think Mason Greenwood will be up top. So I think that's a lineup Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will go with this evening. But despite that, we've had a bad start to the season. That obviously Manchester United are still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously Ed Woodward, he's still convinced that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can turn things around at Manchester United. Now, obviously we've played 7 games in all competitions so far this season. It is our 8th game in all competitions this evening against Rochdale. But so far this season in the league, we've only registered 8 points from 6 league games, and we know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. And obviously, if this bad run of form, does continue to persist, I think the pressure will keep mounting up more and more on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I do believe anyway now that the vast majority of Manchester United fans are demanding him out of the football club. They're also demanding Ed Woodward and that out of the football club. And like I updated you earlier on, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is to be sacked by Manchester United, there has been reports emerging out saying that if there's no improvements in that, Solskjaer could be possibly leave Manchester United by Christmas and that. And the vast majority of Man United fans believe he could be gone by Christmas. A lot of industries, like I said, believe he could be gone by Christmas, because the vast majority of people have got, huge doubts about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And a lot of reports were stemming from the Italian press yesterday, actually, saying that with, we have made Massimiliano Allegri, however you pronounce his name, the former Juventus boss, as our primary candidate to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the football club. But for me, I'm still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United. I do believe, we need to give him more time, to make further more investment in January, possibly see who he can also, bring into the football club next summer. Because I did say, I do, credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in some aspects. He's got a lot of trust. He's got a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players. He recommended 3 good players into the squad. Throughout the course of the summer. We spent over £140 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far. So it's good in the aspect, that we did address some of the problematic areas. There's still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed, but it was going to be extremely difficult for us, to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window, because it's only been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager. So it's good that we got that experienced centre half in. It's good that we got that right back in, but we need to get a midfielder in January. I think we need a couple of midfielders. If I'm going to be quite honest with you, especially if Paul Pogba is to leave the football club. But like I did say on my recent videos, I think due to our inconsistency in that, I think the vast majority of the blame stems from the board. I think it's it is a bit of a mixture. You can blame, all the rest of it as well. Everyone has to take the blame. The vast majority of the blame is from the board, because they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough throughout the course of the summer, as they did at to assure that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been backed. But I think also some of the blame does stem from Solskjaer, because obviously some of his tactics are questionable and that. Obviously, we are tactically inept, I will be honest about that. I think, also some of the blame does stem from Ed Woodward. I think also some of the blame stems from the team, because certain players, have to, take a responsibility on that pitch and that. and the vast majority of players at Manchester United are actually underperforming in that. So these certain players that do need to step up to the plate. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, don't forget, is our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson and Herrera and that. We do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been at Manchester United now for around 9 or 10 months. He's actually nearly now been with the club a year overall. Don't forget, we appointed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in December of last year following the dismissal of Jose Mourinho. Obviously, we got him in as an interim manager. Obviously, he lasted 3 months as interim manager, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and obviously in that 3-month period, everything went well. The results were good, the performances were good, and of course, we did exceed expectations and that. And obviously, reflecting on that, he did get given the job permanently in March earlier on this year. But since he got the job permanently, things have just seemed to have all gone wrong. To be quite honest with you. But yeah, a lot of people have got doubts about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and like I said, I'll back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer all the way. I like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot. Like I said, he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance and that. So he's got that proven pedigree as a player, but he hasn't really got it as a manager. So that's another element of concern I've got about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. And I've got huge doubts about him. And I don't think he's got the stature to get us in that commanding position, of course, where we do clearly want to be. Because I did say at the end of last season, and I said at the start of this season, our expectations this season, will be to finish in that top 4. Maybe perhaps either win, maybe even win some silverware and that. And obviously, I said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed these expectations. But the way things are going at the moment, we won't make the top 4. We probably won't even make the top 6, arguably. So definitely the results need to improve, the performances need to improve in that. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure, is if he's got any chances, of becoming successful at Manchester United. But Solskjaer, obviously himself, he wants to bring that fear factor back to the club. He wants to bring that winning mentality back to the football club. And we know none of that has been there, since the Alex Ferguson and Herrera and that. But I wanted to keep Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't want us to sack him because obviously, like I said, we haven't got the structure, to keep sacking managers. Already 3 managers have been sacked, since the Alex Ferguson and Herrera. Obviously, we've had different managers with different sort of philosophies and that. But I haven't really seen any improvements under Solskjaer than what I saw under Jose Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, and of course David Moyes. And like I did say anyway, reflecting on the amount of money that's been spent at Manchester United in the last 6 or 7 years. Also, with the dimension, the history and that of this football club, because we are the most successful team in England, historically, and that we should be much more of a commanding position than we're in now. We know that analysing our squad at the moment, it's nowhere near good enough to win the league. It's not even good enough to mount any kind of title challenge up. But I think it's definitely good enough for a top 4 finish. And obviously we do want to get back into the Champions League and that. And I said that was one of the reasons what went against us in the summer transfer window, failing to qualify for the Champions League, because they did say a lot of players would have had reservations about joining the football club of our failure to qualify for the Champions League and that. But you can still quite frankly say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is in the process of still rebuilding this Manchester United team, so I would give him more time. Like I did say as well, reflecting back under the Alex Ferguson era, I know we did have 20 odd years of success under Alex Ferguson, but don't forget, if you want to take this into account, Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United and that, and obviously at that point he was on the verge of getting the sack. I think he was 1 game away from getting the sack, but we didn't sack him, and look what he did and that. So I think Solskjaer does need to get given more time. I know he's never going to replicate what was done with the Ferguson. No manager would replicate what Alex Ferguson did and that. No one's going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy in that. But we should be much more of a better position than we're in now and that. But I do believe the board as well, they do need to assure structural changes at the football club, because we do need structural changes at Manchester United. Maybe that went against us as well. Don't forget, throughout the course of summer, obviously with our failure to recommend a director of footballing, maybe you could arguably say if we'd got a director of footballing at the start of the summer, or maybe even midway through the summer, then maybe in that aspect Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been backed more, because I did say that's one of the structural changes that we did need with the football club, was getting a new director of footballing. And there was Ed Woodward I think is still looking to appoint a new director of footballing and that. Obviously there was there was former Man United players, you know, Evra, Ferdinand and Darren Fletcher, and that were linked to roles at the football club throughout the course of the summer. Obviously, you know, there was speculation a couple of weeks ago saying that, you know, Edwin van der Sar, you know, could come in as our new director of football and that. Obviously, you know, I think if Edwin van der Sar was to come in, I think, you know, he would be reliable, obviously, in our transfer business and that, because I think he's, well, we've been satisfied really with the work he's done at Ajax, because Edwin van der Sar is the CEO at Ajax. I think this is now his 4th season at Ajax. You know, he's Edwin van der Sar and that. But yeah, we've had a really poor start to this season. But, you know, analysing, you know, certain games already this season, I know we are only early on this season, but I think there's a couple of games you can pinpoint out. Arguably, you know, Manchester United should have won. You know, I think maybe we should have won at Wolves away earlier on in the season. You know, maybe we should have won at Southampton away earlier on in the season. We should have definitely, you know, beat Crystal Palace at home. You know, reflecting on the amount of chances we had. Obviously, we had the majority of the possession now, but it just proves, you know, that we're not being clinical enough in front of goal. We don't seem to have that clinical element, but we are creating chances and that. But this is a, you know, this is compatible, you know, to last season. You know, we only managed 53 goals in the Premier League last season, you know, obviously in 38 Premier League games and that, and last season wasn't clinical enough in front of goal, and this is a problem. This is something Manchester United do need to justify, you know, without a shadow of a doubt. But so far this season we've only managed 8 goals so far in the Premier League and that, so that is really bad. That is really bad, you know, to be quite honest with you. But like I did say, I'm still, you know, backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United and that. But, you know, there was more fans that was demanding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out, you know, after the 2-0 defeat to West Ham last weekend. Because prior to the West Ham game, there wasn't really many Man United fans, you know, demanding him out in the football club and that. And it's not only our performances that have been pretty bad, it's not only the results have been bad, you know. Obviously, us away from home, we've been extremely poor. You know, we haven't won a single game away from home, you know, since the PSG game last season. Of course, when you do remember that, you know, we produced that miraculous comeback against PSG. You know, we did beat them by 3 goals to 1, and that's obviously, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as manager. And, you know, you'll get a lot of people now saying, I think people actually, you know, said it towards the back end of last season, you know, we did give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job too early. You know, maybe we should have waited till the end of last season to give him it. Maybe we should have waited until some point, you know, this season, you know, to give him it and that, you know, because it was going very well, you know, when he was the interim manager. But, you know, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was to be sacked anyway, you know, who would you recommend into the football club now? Obviously, you know, before Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended into Manchester United, as you all know, there was a lot of, you know, speculation and, you know, a lot of speculation that, you know, about, you know, Pochettino coming in to the football club and that, because actually, you know, he was our primary candidate, you know, to actually, you know, replace Jose Mourinho at the time. At the time we was in for Pochettino, you know, I did say I had a element of concerns about bringing him in, because obviously, you know, Pochettino is a good manager, he's well Premier League proven, but he hasn't won out yet in terms of silverware. Now he's in his 6th season with Tottenham. But obviously I think, you know, the time we was in for managers before Solskjaer came in, you know, I think the only way Pochettino or even Zinedine Zidane would have come to the football club at that time is if we'd have assured them a substantial amount to spend in that. And Pochettino, obviously we'd have had to pay a commission of around 35 to 40 million to get him in, and, you know, obviously our preference was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer over them, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, was a cheaper solution, because we only paid Mould, you know, a couple of quid to get him in. You know, we paid I think we paid around £7 or £8 million, you know, to Mould, furthermore that is, you know, to give him the job permanently in that. But yeah, there has been recent talks about Massimiliano. There has been recent talks about Massimiliano Allegri, if I've pronounced his name right, you know, from Juventus and that. Obviously, he's not the Juventus manager now, you know, he's just recently, you know, managed Juventus, so he is the former Juventus manager. So if he was to come to Manchester United, you know, do you think he'd, you know, be able, you know, to turn things around? Obviously, we know he's never, I think he's in his 50s, he's never obviously managed in the Premier League. He's actually, you know, spent the entirety of his managerial career in Italy. I think he's been managing since 2003, so he's been in management now about 16 years. Obviously spent the entirety of his playing career in Italy as well, you know, did Massimiliano Allegri. Don't forget Allegri, you know, the majority of his silverware he has won as manager has obviously, you know, become with Juventus. I think he served around 5 years with Juventus, did Massimiliano. I think before that he served around 4 years with AC Milan. Don't forget he served a couple of years with Cagliari. I think he also had a spell with Saluzzo, and I think he, you know, had a you know, he managed a few other Italian teams. I think the other ones he managed was Spal as well. So he has managed a host of Italian clubs. But would he be the right man, you know, to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United? But now he's the leading candidate, you know, to come in at Manchester United if Solskjaer, you know, is to be currently sacked and that. I'm also glad, you know, that we did get rid of a lot of the deadwood, you know, throughout the course of the summer, because obviously we was demanding that summer clear out, and we did get that summer clear out. But despite the fact a lot of players have now left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, I still believe, you know, like I said, you know, these are still problematic players at the football club. Obviously, the players, I think around 7 players have now left since Solskjaer's arrival. Obviously, you know, Italy's been a popular destination, you know, for the vast majority of our players that have left this summer. Obviously, I think around 4 of our players have gone to Italy. Obviously, you know, a couple have been loaned out. You know, 2 of them obviously, you know, went on permanent transfers. But yeah, so we know that obviously Antonio Valencia left at the end of last season after he served 10 years with Manchester United. Obviously, we do know, like I said, Chris Smalling left the football club. He went out on loan, and Chris Smalling actually was a loan servant at Manchester United. You know, he served 9 years at the football club. Despite the fact that Smalling's left though, you know, we have still got, you know, 6 centre-backs in the team. Obviously, you know, Darmian left the football club as well, don't forget. Obviously, Ander Herrera and Marian Fellaini left. And again, it was a shame that we didn't recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera and Marian Fellaini. You know, like I said, Lukaku left, Sanchez left. Obviously, you know, Sanchez and Lukaku, obviously, you know, they're reuniting together at Inter Milan, of course. And yeah, it was a shame that we didn't recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku, because I think a lot of people believe that, you know, we are short now in that attacking area, you know, and that, so maybe we do need to recommend at least one striker in maybe in January or next summer and that. And I think also, you know, a couple of goalkeepers have been loaned out, as you all know. Dean Enton's out on loan with Sheffield United. I think that's good in that aspect, because obviously, you know, that's going to gain him more experience, you know, Dean Henderson. That's going to gain more experience, because, you know, he's only very, very young. Like I said, Joe Pereira's out on loan in Scotland, you know, with Hearts and that. But yeah, I still believe, you know, these problematic players at Manchester United without a shadow of a doubt. We've got a lot of young players in the squad, like I said, you know, that are developing and trying to improve at Manchester United. You know, obviously there's also a lot of experienced players in the squad and that. And Solskjaer was mentioning, you know, in these cup games in the Europa League and that, you know, he may not just go with the youth. You know, he may obviously, you know, go with some of the, you know, more experienced players as well. You know, as he was currently mentioning. But yeah, for me, I think in January and possibly next summer, you know, more players need to go. I think Rojo needs to go in January or next summer. Rojo, like I said, in the cup games and that, he'll get his opportunities. Like I said this evening, I think, you know, he will get a chance with Marcus Rojo. And Rojo's versatility is really, really good. You know, he's predominantly a centre-back, but, you know, he can also play as a full-back and a wing-back and that. So he can play in various positions in that back line. Don't forget, Everton had inquired about getting Rojo on deadline day. If you do remember rightly, he's just got under 2 years left on his contract at Manchester United. So I think he definitely needs to be moved on. You know, in the future sometime, he definitely needs to be moved on. Jones, same thoughts about him. You know, he's a problematic player, but he's obviously going to get the opportunities in the cup games and that. But, you know, like I said, I think he's no longer good enough to represent Man United, and I think it was a mistake from the football club last year, you know, giving him that new long-term contract. So I do believe, you know, in my opinion, he needs to be moved on in January or next summer. Ashley Young now, obviously, you know, with Ashley Young, obviously, we know that he's predominantly a right back. We do know that actually Ashley Young was our first choice right back last season. He's obviously no longer our first choice right back now, following the arrival of Wan-Bissaka. But, you know, Ashley Young has played recently on a regular basis, obviously mainly due to the absence of Luke Shaw. Obviously, Ashley Young has been playing at that left-back position. He signed a new one-year extension last season, you know, don't forget. I think this actually, you know, could be his last season as a Manchester United player, because I think he's past his sell-by date. You know, he's obviously 34, I think he's 35 next year. So he's another one that needs to be moved on. Definitely the Nemanja Matic, you know, needs to be moved on by the football club. He's too inconsistent. I know, like I said, he's been playing regularly recently, but that's obviously due to the absence of Paul Pogba. Now, obviously, Paul Pogba's back. Matic is going to find it very, very hard, to get there in that mix, because obviously Matic is no longer first choice for Manchester United. He was last season, but he's no longer first choice, and that's obviously due to his inconsistency. I think recently, Matic had give his overarching view, on what's going on, and he's actually infuriated with lack of game time, with Man United this season. Obviously, he's fallen down the pecking order, and obviously, McTominay is our third choice over Nemanja Matic and that. And Matic is also, 31 years of age now. He's now into his third season as a Manchester United player. Obviously, his current contract expires at the end of the season. Does Nemanja Matic, but we do have an option, to extend it by a further year. Probably more than likely we won't do that. Maybe we'll try and get rid of him in January. Maybe we'll try and get rid of him next summer. Well, actually, next summer we'll lose him on a free transfer if he leaves. But we could possibly try and cash in for him in January. But yeah, it said a lot of reports, like I said, were speculating out the other week, saying that a lot of teams were in for him. Well, about 4 clubs were in for him. I think it said AC Milan, Inter Milan, Juventus, and Borussia Dortmund were in for him. So in that aspect, a trio of Italian clubs were in for Matic and that, and obviously, one German club. But we paid around £35 million for Matic. There was £5 million in add-ons, which did potentially rise it up to around £40 million. But we overpaid for Matic anyway. At the time, we did get him back under the Jose Mourinho era. Obviously, he wasn't our first choice anyway. It was like obviously our third choice signing. But yeah, for me, he definitely needs to be moved on by the football club. Matic is actually he's not far away now from making a century of appearances for Man United in all competitions. I think he's made about 90 now in all competitions for the football club. I think 67 of those appearances have come in the Premier League. Matic may be involved tonight, could be involved tonight, but I prefer Fred or McTominay, over Nemanja Matic and that. So yeah, he's another player I've got a lot of element of concerns about. But yeah, I think now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ed Woodward, I think they're already making plans for the January transfer window of who obviously they're going to recommend in to the football club and that. Obviously Solskjaer, I think, is confirmed he's still sticking to the same policy. Because obviously he did say, earlier on in the summer, he wants to still sign, young British players and that. We recommended 3 British players to the club throughout the course of the summer. But yeah, he's already making plans for January, Mr. Solskjaer. And he's aware, obviously, of the deficiencies in the squad. But I was reading recent reports up, actually, and it did actually say that Solskjaer has identified 2 strikers he would like to recommend into the football club in January. I think this was stemming from the Mirror. Don't really read much of the Mirror, to be quite honest with you. But it did say that, the 2 strikers he wants to recommend in is Barcelona's Ousmane Dembele and Juventus's Mario Mandzukic and that. Now, obviously, we've never really been in for Ousmane Dembele before. There's been we've been sort of tentative linked to him maybe, but he hasn't obviously ever been one of our main priority targets. Now, we are aware if we was to go in for Ousmane Dembele in January, we'd probably, if we had any chance of getting him, obviously, we'd have to pay a substantial amount for him. Probably cost us in the excess of around £100 million and that. Don't forget, we have got the financial power anyway, to meet that valuation. Because obviously, well, we're known for spending big on players. We overpay for players. And actually, as I said, when it comes to letting players go, we let them go for next to nothing. That because we've done that in recent years. There's been prime examples of it this summer. We did it with Darmian. We did it with Ander Herrera and that. But yeah, £100 million is a lot of money to anybody. But especially just for the 22-year-old. Ousmane Dembele is 22. I think he's enjoyed a pretty difficult time. With Barcelona. I think he's been at Barcelona now. Is it a couple of seasons? Is he now into his 3rd season now at Barcelona? If I'm right, or is it his 2nd season? I think he's been at Barcelona since 2017. I think he can play as a forward, but I think he's actually primarily a winner. Is Ousmane Dembele. Obviously, Barcelona did pay a substantial amount for him from Borussia Dortmund. They paid around €105 million for him from Borussia Dortmund and that. But I don't think Barcelona is replicating, what he did at Borussia Dortmund, because I thought he had a good spell at Borussia Dortmund, did Ousmane Dembele, and he has sustained quite a few injuries as well as a Barcelona player. But do you think he would be the right type of calibre player for Manchester United, Ousmane Dembele? Do you think he'd be a good replacement for Romelu Lukaku and that? I'd like to know in your comments below. With Mario Mandzukic now, you know, obviously we inquired about getting him anyway, you know, towards the back end towards the back end of the window early on in the summer. Obviously, we do know for a fact that obviously Mario Mandzukic would be a much cheaper solution than, you know, Ousmane Dembele in that. But I think we know, despite the fact that Mario Mandzukic has had a good career with Juventus, you know, despite the fact that he's had a good career with Juventus, you know, I think we'd have, you know, reservations about recommending him into the football club, and that's obviously not reflecting on his age, because I think he's around 33 years of age now, is Mario Mandzukic, and that we'd probably have to pay for him probably only between 15 to 20 million pounds, you know, to get him in to the football club and that. But yeah, we did go in for him towards the back end of the window. So do you think, you know, he'd be a good replacement for Romelu Lukaku? But yeah, reported there the two strikers Solskjaer wants to go in for in January. I was reading reports the other week, and, you know, they actually, you know, did say that, you know, we've identified James Maddison from Leicester and Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund as our #1 priority targets for next summer. There was some reports speculating out saying that we could actually go in for James Maddison in January. Again, you know, Jadon Sancho and James Maddison, you know, would cost us a substantial amount of money. You know, probably Jadon Sancho is going to cost us, you know, in the excess of around £100 million. James Maddison's probably going to cost us in the excess from between 70 to 80 million pounds and that. So there's about 170, 180 million pounds there on two players. Obviously, we're probably, you know, seeing James Maddison as, you know, the adequate replacement for Paul Pogba, because I still believe, you know, Paul Pogba, you know, does want out of the football club. Still wants out of the football club and that, and yeah, so we're seeing James Maddison as the adequate replacement for him, and I like James Maddison a lot, and, you know, Leicester do know how much of an imperative player he is. You know, don't forget we did business with Leicester, you know, earlier on in the summer. You know, obviously, you know, we got Harry Maguire in that. You know, we paid £80 million for him. Obviously, he's the most expensive defender in the world. Obviously, you know, he's the second most expensive signing in the football club. You know, just behind Paul Pogba. But yes, and Leicester didn't really want to lose Harry Maguire in that. They didn't want to lose him, and they'll have the same thoughts about, you know, James Maddison. They don't really want to lose him, so they're going to demand a similar fee if they had to soften their stance on James Maddison. James Maddison is predominantly an attacking midfielder, but he can also play out wide, don't forget. But he's predominantly an attacking midfielder, is James Maddison. But he has played on left quite a few times, because, you know, Brendan Rodgers has played in there quite a few times. But this is James Maddison's second season now in the Premier League with Leicester. Obviously, it was his debut season last season with Leicester in the Premier League. You know, last season he was involved in 14 goals. This is also a good statistic. You know, last season he created more chances than any other player in the Premier League. You know, I think he created around 100 chances, did James Maddison. He's still got 4 years left, I think, on his current contract with Leicester. 4 years left on his current contract. Leicester they got him for next to no, basically. They paid around £20 million for him from Norwich last summer. He did have a good couple of years in the Championship, did James Maddison. I do believe there was also teams tracking James Maddison when he was a youngster at Coventry, because that's where he initially began his career in that. But we was tentatively linked with Maddison earlier on in the summer. You know, wasn't, like I said, he wasn't one of our main priority targets, but we, you know, reportedly, you know, we've been interested in him since June, and I would like him in our midfield, because I think he'd blend in our midfield very, very well in that. But yeah, we could possibly go in for him in January or next summer. And with Jadon Sancho, don't forget, you know, reflecting back in January, you know, he was our main priority target was Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund. But obviously, you know, our move got scuppered for Jadon Sancho, obviously, with our failure to qualify for the Champions League. Don't forget, we was also in for Jadon Sancho earlier on in the summer. I think Jadon Sancho, you know, is still unsure about his future and that. There was reports emerging out, I think a month or two ago, saying that, you know, he will leave Borussia Dortmund next summer. But Jadon Sancho has got big ambitions for the future, and those ambitions are, obviously, you know, is to win silverware and that with Borussia Dortmund and that. But he still says, you know, he doesn't know where his future holds. Jadon Sancho is primarily a right winger. He is only 19 years of age. Can also, you know, be played centrally, can Jadon Sancho, but he's had 2 good seasons with Borussia Dortmund. He's now in his 3rd season as a Borussia Dortmund player. I think he's made over 60 first team appearances expensive to Dortmund. You know, it's also beneficial, don't forget, he's had experience of playing in the Premier League as Sancho, because he did serve a couple of years with Man City, never really got assured first team opportunities at Manchester City, so this is why he left City, of course, to join Dortmund. And Dortmund got him for next to no, you know. Dortmund only paid around, what, £7 or £8 million for him, you know, from Manchester City, don't forget. So if there was to get £100 million for him next summer, you know, they would, you know, make a huge profit on the player. But yeah, like I said, you know, definitely furthermore investment is needed in the Manchester United squad. But like I said, I've been very, very impressed, you know, with the 3 players we've brought in so far. Daniel James has done fantastic, you know. I still say, you know, he's a prospect and needs time to develop, but I think he's settled in at Manchester United, you know, really, really well. He's only 21, you know. And Wan-Bissaka, you know, like I said, a lot of people believe, you know, he's been one of our most consistent signings as Wan-Bissaka. And Harry Maguire's done really, really well on that. And I think if they all do continue the consistency up, you know, their valuations, you know, will persistently grow. Harry Maguire will be rested tonight as well. He won't play, I don't think. I think also Victor Lindelof, you know, will be rested this evening. Because like I said at the start of the video, you know, he's going to rest his imperative players, obviously, you know, for the game this evening. Like I said, you know, he'll do it again, you know, after the Arsenal game. He'll make alterations in the squad. He'll probably give more of the youth a chance, because obviously after Arsenal, I think it is AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League, if I'm right, and that's obviously, you know, going to be a much more tougher test than FC Astana, and so too is, you know, Partizan Belgrade. You know, that's also going to be a tougher test than FC Astana. Yeah, but like I said, you know, a lot of money has been spent at Manchester United. Obviously, you know, over £140 million spent under Solskjaer this summer. You know, just under £400 million was spent under Jose Mourinho. He recommended 11 players into the football club. You know, Jose Mourinho obviously, you know, had around, you know, he's served 2.5 years, I think, at Manchester United and that. Obviously, you know, Mourinho did win the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season at Man United. I think, you know, we got second. I think, was that in his first season at Manchester United, if I'm right, we got second. Or that actually, you know, might have been his second season. We finished second with him, I can't remember rightly. But, like I said, you know, I'll give you the reasons, you know, why it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era, because I think we recommended him in too late. Maybe you could arguably say if we recommended him in after Ferguson's retirement, then maybe, you know, would have been a much better team than we are now. But we put him in too late. You know, Mourinho obviously, you know, had bad disputes with the board and that. You know, he had bad disputes with the top players, and that obviously tells you that your tenure's not working out. Obviously as well, you know, the board weren't back in the signings, you know, that he wanted to recommend in to the football club last summer. There was no sort of transfer strategy under Mourinho. The philosophy wasn't right under Mourinho. So these are the main reasons why it didn't work out under him. And then under Louis van Gaal, a lot of money was spent under Van Gaal at the football club. You know, the vast majority of the players Van Gaal brought in have, you know, the vast majority of them have now gone, but still some of them are here. You know, Luke Shaw's still here, Martial's still here from the Louis van Gaal era, don't forget. There's still a few here, you know, from the Van Gaal era. You know, it didn't work out under Van Gaal because, you know, he didn't have the right sort of philosophy. And then obviously under David Moyes, you know, we spent around, what, around £67 million. He brought Juan Mata and Marion Fellaini to the football club. Obviously, you know, Moyes only lasted 10 months at the football club anyway, so, you know, he had the shortest tenure, did Moyes, in all the managerial eras, you know, since Alex Ferguson's retirement and that. Yeah, and I think the lowest we've finished is 7th, you know, since the Alex Ferguson era. I think actually under Alex Ferguson era, you know, the lowest we finished, I think, was 3rd, from what I know anyway. But yeah, so disregarding what was spent under Ferguson, you know, in all the other managerial eras, you know, since his retirement, I think around nearly £900 million has been spent at Manchester United and that. And like I've just said, that's not taking into account what's been spent under Ferguson. If you want to take into account what was spent under Ferguson, you know, it's way over £1 billion that has been invested into this football club. Yeah, it's not only that as well. You know, we have now got players on big contracts. Don't forget, we have got players on big contracts and that. You know, we got some good news, you know, last week, you know, in regards to Lindelof and David De Gea. You know, them two committed their long-term futures with Man United. You know, Lindelof, he signed a 5-year contract last week with an option of a further year, I think. You know, De Gea, you know, last Monday it was. Not this Monday, not this Monday just gone, you know, I think it was the other Monday, you know, he signed a new long-term contract at Man United. De Gea signed, you know, a 4-year contract with an option of a further year. Very, very happy about that. So it's good that we have sorted the contract renewals out, but, you know, we give a lot of players, you know, contracts, you know, that were currently in their last years of their deals. You know, we did it with Anthony Martial back in January. We did it with Marcus Rashford earlier on in the summer. We did it with Mata earlier on in the summer and that. And, you know, and don't forget, Young signed a new 1-year extension last season. McTominay signed a new long-term contract last season. Jones signed a new long-term contract last season. But yeah, we have actually, you know, sorted them contract renewals out, which is very, very good. But yeah, we have got, like I said, we've got players on massive amounts of money. You know, Pogba, 290 grand a week. You know, Rashford on over 200 grand a week. Martial on over 200 grand a week. You know, De Gea now, he's the highest paid goalkeeper in the world and the highest paid at the club at the moment. He's on from between 350 to 375 grand a week. So we have got players on massive amounts of money. You've got Harry Maguire on over 200 odd grand a week. And over 200 odd grand a week and that. But yeah, I just want to give you some news now in regards to Paul Pogba. I've just been reading recent reports about him. And reportedly now, Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, he has reportedly now orchestrated on how to get Pogba, you know, out of Manchester United, basically. So he's basically forcing Manchester United into selling Paul Pogba and that. And reportedly, Raiola is demanding a substantial 600 grand a week for his client, you know, to renew his contract at Manchester United. I doubt very, very much that Man United are going to pay him 600 grand a week and that. So if he's on 290 grand a week at the moment, so basically that's a £310,000 pay rise. You know, he's basically demanding as his agent if Paul Pogba, you know, is to remain loyal to the football club and that. Paul Pogba, don't forget, still got 2 years left on his contract at Manchester United with an option, you know, to extend it by a further year. Don't forget, Pogba is our most expensive signing. Obviously, we paid £8 to £9 million for him from Juventus back in 2016 and that. But, you know, recently it's been saying that, obviously, you know, we have now begun contract negotiations with Pogba. I think we've had negotiations with his agent, Mini Raiola, of the possibility of renewing his contract and discuss his potential future and that. But I still think Paul Pogba will leave in January or next summer. Obviously, don't forget, you know, Real Madrid were in for him throughout the course of summer. Well, actually, Real Madrid were relentlessly linked with him. Obviously, there was talks about him making a return back to Turin because he did have 4 good years in Turin with Juventus and that. Hasn't really replicated this at Man United. Obviously, you know, Barcelona were in for him. Obviously, you know, PSG allegedly, you know, well, nearly got him on deadline day, but the move never materialised there because of the Neymar saga. But it was mainly, you know, Real Madrid that were in for Paul Pogba. But yeah, Solskjaer's recently, you know, give his overarching view on it. And he still believes that, you know, Paul Pogba, you know, will stay at Manchester United. He believes, well, he's notified Real Madrid, you know, that Paul Pogba's going nowhere. He's very, very adamant, he's Solskjaer, you know, that he will not be for sale in January. You know, if we are to soften our stance on Paul Pogba in January, probably, you know, we would demand a similar sort of figure, you know, to what we did demand, you know, throughout the course of the summer. And we did want a substantial £180 million for him throughout the course of summer. And obviously we do know that Real Madrid were not willing to pay that. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane identified Paul Pogba as his number one priority target, so in that aspect he'll be infuriated, you know, that he didn't get his priority target throughout the course of summer. But more than likely Real Madrid will reignite their interest in January in Paul Pogba and that. Like I did say, we have seen Paul Pogba, you know, at his best at Manchester United. You know, when he's at his best, he's like one of the best midfielders in the world. You know, you mainly see the best of Paul Pogba, you know, when he is 3'd up and that. And he's still got a lot of development in him, you know. He's only 26 years of age, is Paul Pogba. He's now into his 4th season as a Man United player since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016. And he has won the Europa League and the League Cup with us. That came in his 2nd season at the club. But Paul Pogba actually confirmed earlier on in the summer that he wanted to leave Manchester United. And he did say, you know, he was seeking for a new challenge. But it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan, you know, to actually, you know, build a side around Paul Pogba and that. But I still believe, you know, he still wants him out in the football club because maybe he's frustrated with the lack of competitiveness. Maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players in that. And maybe, you know, he wants to be in Champions League football. So maybe these are the reasons why he does want to leave Manchester United, you know, Paul Pogba and that. But yeah, still a very, very imperative player for me. You know, And it actually said that you know, Adidas had a big part to play, you know, Paul Pogba staying at the football club, because reportedly Adidas wanted Paul Pogba to remain at Manchester United because they actually, you know, believe it's better for them commercially and that. But Solskjaer knows deep down how much an imperative player and that he is. But yeah, nothing much really more to say in that, and yeah. So alright guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel, and if you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.